Welcome to the Nuclear Power Institute's The Path of Most Persistent podcast. The podcast highlighting individual stories of persistence, community outreach, and inspiration to support the continuing and emerging nuclear science and technology needs across the state of Texas. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy today's podcast. Howdy, and welcome to the Path of Most Persistence podcast with the Nuclear Power Institute. Today we've got Ms. Shayla Rivera, who is the Director of Engineering X at Texas A&M University, as well as a professor of practice, among several other things that I'm sure we'll hear about today during our interview. So Ms. Rivera, thank you so much for joining us today. I don't know if there's anything you want to add about your background or what you do at Texas A&M, but I'll leave it up to you if you want to share some more.
Sure. I'll say howdy, and I'll say that, one of the things I can tell you right now is that I didn't expect to find myself here at Texas A&M. This was one of those fabulous twists of life, you know, when you are willing to go ahead and take risks. But what I do here in the College of Engineering as a professor of practice and director of Engineering X, what is Engineering X? It's actually a commitment by the College of Engineering to make our students better professionals, in the sense that we ask them to participate in high impact activities, not just go to class, right? We want them to get out there and, you know, you really learn by actually doing, you really learn by connecting with people, you really learn, you know, you can't just learn stuff, you have to grow and become, you know, the professional that you're going to become. And the only way to do that is through experience. So that's what we're doing with Engineering X. And I'm the perfect person for that.
You certainly have the personality for it. But thank you again for joining us today. And I think I can speak for all of us here on the call today that we're all really excited to hear your story. So what we focus on mostly, and it's not strictly solely for persistence or perseverance, those are the topics that we kind of strategically cover with our podcast. I was wondering if you had any insights on what do you perceive as persistence or perseverance in your experience?
Well, in my experience, I will tell you personally, it's been, I'll call myself I didn't know that I was being persistent. I always thought that I was more like a rebel when I was a kid, you know, because I would rebel against being told that I couldn't do something, or that, you know, whenever I felt that somebody was unjustly saying something that I didn't do or do whatever, I was kind of always paying attention to myself and how I felt and what I wanted to feel as a child. I really wanted to just feel comfortable in my own skin. I mean, I don't know about you all. You probably are all, you know, really strong people, but I wasn't growing up. And, you know, I was, you know, you're always feeling like you're not good enough, that you fall short and stuff like that. And I think if anything has made me a resolute person in the subject of being persistent is that I did not want to feel that way. I couldn't understand why I felt that way, number one. You know, I just didn't think it was true that I was, you know, lazy or not smart enough or anything like that. But I certainly felt like an imposter most of the time. And just, I think my rebel didn't want to feel that. And so my rebel just kept on taking risks. The issue became not feeling, I mean, I would take the risks and I would achieve the things that I would achieve, but I never felt like I deserved anything. So it's, you know, my life has been probably a journey of having that persistence and that resilience and that perseverance thing meet with a level of being peaceful, to have peace, to say, you know what, I am that. I am okay. I'm not a bad person. I can't take this risk, and I deserve to take the, you know, whatever is given to me. There's just that point that you have to get to just be at peace. Again, that's the word. It's all about peace.
You know, what you say resonates with me already so much, especially using the term rebel. You know, as you spoke, I wonder, was there a particular instance where you decided you were going to make that switch, or was it a series of evolutions, just gradual changes, you know, evolving slowly, or was it just a day, an experience that you had that you decided, you know what? I'm going to do something about it, or I'm going to be very intentional?
You know, this is a great question, Valerie. I cannot tell you that there was one moment, but I can tell you that there was a bunch of moments. And the one thing that I did become pretty good at is paying attention to those moments. There was one moment when I had just gotten to Texas A&M, and I talk about this when I speak. When I didn't speak English, I had to come here, and you know, from Puerto Rico, learn English in Texas, not easy because you don't talk English here. So it was hard, but I was scared. I just graduated high school, and it wasn't about the language so much. I was afraid. I had left everything I knew, and I was going into a brand new place, brand new life, brand new everything. So I was afraid, but I was also angry. You know, I was like, it's not right, whatever. My mother just said, I don't care, right? So she gave me a couple weeks to get over it, thank God. So I started watching TV, and I remember that I was watching a show, The Gong Show, back in 1979. Travis, there's no way you know this, none of you. You know, it was okay, so you do. The show back in the day was really funny, and I'm watching it because it was visually interesting. You know, the language wasn't working, but what we're seeing was really interesting. So I see the guy introduce the next ad. Out comes a woman that was really big, wearing a bikini. I like to say a thong bikini. Maybe it wasn't a thong, but it became a thong when she came out. But she comes out and she plays at this piano. She sits at a piano and plays it like I've never heard anybody. I mean, she was a master. And that's one of those moments where I said, that's it. And I'm not going to live afraid of a language. That was a real important moment for me, because I have used that many times in my life. I don't want to live afraid of this particular thing that I'm afraid of. So I just went into my room. I started reading out loud. And then 5 months later, I find myself at A&M. I'm having a conversation with a professor, and in the middle of that conversation, I wake up. You know how it is. You kind of get to the place when you're there. And I had this thought, wow, I'm actually carrying on a conversation in English. This is really cool. And then I realized that I said, wow, if I can do this, I can do anything, because, you know, I had just mastered a language, according to me. In a way, I had. And then I had the other thought that I always say was a whisper, really, which is why I've done everything I've done, which is the whisper was, remember, if you can do anything, then anybody can do anything. And that is one of those moments when I knew that that was true. And I know that that's true, because if anybody's ever done anything, anybody else can do that very same thing. But they really have to want to do it. And they really have to, it's got to be some kind of really, you know, they have to be propelled to do it. But there's nothing else that holds us back, well, as much as we do. We hold ourselves back. So yes, it's been a series of moments after that. And, you know, every moment brings you something new. And I think that the best thing we can do is sit down and share with each other what these moments are, you know, because most of the time we're going to find that other people have these moments as well. And you probably remind them of them, or, you know, and you go, you know what, I remember that. And that's what we have to do, find the evidence of that in our lives, and, you know, to be successful. We are resilient. We're already, we're persistent. We're resilient. If we're here right now, you know, we're still here. We have survived everything up to now. And if we have, you know, what else can come? Look at us. We're in COVID. We're in a pandemic. We're, you know, and when the pandemic happened, you know, it's just like everybody would say, oh my God, I've never gone through anything like this. What am I going to do? And I would say, well, none of us have gone through anything like this, first of all. So we're all going to figure this out together. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you said that you're from Puerto Rico. So when you
Yes.
first moved to Texas, it's not the same as Mexican Spanish.
No.
It's
oh
different.
my God, no.
And so I'm a little curious about, when you grew up, coming from Puerto Rico, when you're a minority as it is. So any sort of microaggressions that you had to, face, and how did you overcome those?
That's another great question. So, all right. So I always say about this, and this is one of those things about awareness. When I grew up in Puerto Rico, while I was over there, I was fully aware that I was Puerto Rican. That was it. Then when I moved to Houston, I found out that I was a minority, and actually found out I was Mexican, because that's what they thought I was. So what I'm saying here is that I wasn't so aware of the whole idea of, you are this and you are that, and you're a female and you're a male and all of that. I had grown up knowing that I was just part of this family and part of this culture, and probably my parents had a lot to do with that. I don't know. I knew I was going to go to college. I knew I was going to go into engineering. I didn't think that it was only for men. I never really had that until I learned about it. So yeah, for a long time, I wouldn't find any because I'm not really looking for it. But then, then I have to say that absolutely, there is some microaggressions. There are some kind of people that maybe knowingly or unknowingly will, say something or act towards you in a way that you go, what? But yeah, I can't say that, when I came to A&M, I was different. I didn't look like everybody else, but I was so into my own little pity party that microaggressions was the least of my problems. I needed to get through aerospace. So and the one thing, Diana, that I have found in life is that I just don't see it. I don't see the differences. I don't see it. What we have in science and in spirit, we really are all the same thing. We're human beings. I mean, so yes, we are male, female, we're black, white, Latino, whatever we want to be. But we're, the bottom line is we're all human beings. We're that quantum observer that's affecting our lives. And you know what? When I really got into that really gave me a lot of peace. And it's also brought a lot of good things to me, because I started just expecting only good things. Now there are some buttheads out there. Yes, I used the B word. But I won't carry them too long. That doesn't mean that other people don't have a real issue and problem with this. I'm just saying that, there's a whole lot that you can do toward that. Don't be what you don't want to see, act differently. And that's all I have to say about that. Any other questions?
Yes. So whenever you initially learned how to speak English, and you said you finally were able to have conversations with professors, and you were able to have these interactions, did you seek out mentorship and guidance during your time at A&M? And how big of a part did that play in your career?
Wow. So this is so good for anybody out there that has this question. I did not, Travis. I did not, because I was too self-conscious. I was so convinced that nobody would want to help me. I was so convinced that I didn't belong, that I was an imposter and all that stuff, that's where the rebel carried me through. The rebel said, when I signed up for aerospace, I called my aunt, my favorite aunt in Puerto Rico, and I said, hey, guess what? I'm going to be an aerospace engineer. And she said, I give you 4 months. Now, that's, you know, in that moment, though, the rebel said, oh, yeah. So, you know, that actually propelled me a little bit. But the thing is that I didn't really understand the concept of mentorship. I don't, you know, I had my parents, I had my family that if I had any issues, I would go talk to them or everything. There's great advantage of seeking somebody now that you can just sit down and have a conversation about these things. I never did that. The way that I muddled through was books, lots of books, reading things that help me understand me and understand that there are other ways of approaching issues in life and stuff that gives you, you know, a better outcome. And the outcome, again, is always just a peaceful outcome. You know, I can do this. I'm okay. You know, being reassuring myself, all of those things, they really do work. Um, and and then taking risks. But no, I am not ashamed to say it, but I just did not. I mean, I can never. Now I'm like, I need to talk to Deepak Chopra or something like that. But it's important to find people that have that are like-minded, you know, um, especially when you're seeking something that's a little deeper than just leadership or, you know, straight up, yeah, you know, success and stuff like that. You want to go a little deeper than that. You have to find people that are interested in that as well, I would say.
Shayla, thank you. That is so helpful. That is so good. I'm very curious. Of all your accomplishments, personal and professional, which are those, or which one, or however many you want to talk about, are you most proud and why?
Wow. What am I most proud of? I am most proud of having the children that I have. That's it. I have, you know, I part of the story that I tell is that you know, a couple of years ago, I came back from a gig and I came upstairs to find the body of my son in the very spot that I'm sitting right now. And I'd lost him. Now, that moment, um, talk about having to be present, right? Talk about just a moment of where you cannot change it. You cannot do anything about it. If anything seared something for me, that moment was a surrender to what was. And of course, your heart rips. You don't know what you're going to do. But I was able to, I mean, I'm sitting here, right? I'm sitting here still. I did not think I would survive it. I keep discovering more and more every day after I lost my son. I know I lost my son to the callousness of too many people. You know, we don't mind our words. Words is the power that we all have. I always talk about that. Words are the power that we don't use on purpose. You can elevate or you can destroy with words. You can, you know, build and we don't use words. So, I would have done anything for my son, anything. Him and I were good buddies, you know, we were so much fun together. But the thing is, you know, after a year, I remember that, that I just kind of realized that this taught me that I can't, you know, I love to help people. This is what I do, right? I mean, I'm a speaker, I like to elevate people, and I could not help my son. So there's nobody else I would have helped more than my son. So that shows me that there's nothing that anyone can do for you, that you have to do the work yourself, that you have to go out there and seek a mentor and seek help and seek a book and seek these things yourself. And then further, moreover, every day I discover that I know my son in a way that I wouldn't have known him if he was still with me. Every day I realize. The other day we were doing a conference and somebody displayed, they sing and they have a band and the song was amazing and it was a good song. And I'm like, oh, Michael would have loved this song and everything. And then I thought, wow, I never really would have gotten to know you the way I know you. I would have thought about you the way I think about you now. So there's always some kind of, I don't know, redemption in these things. And all we can do is just keep on keeping on. We have to keep on. We have to be resilient. We just have to continue, because I know that's what he would have wanted. And if I can help anybody else, and it seems to me that he keeps sending me more and more people. And that's another subject for another day. But I know that sharing this with, whenever I share it, I always find somebody that says, thank you for sharing that. Because I know that this pain is not just mine. I don't think I'm the only one that suffered these kinds of, losses and pain. And I have encountered so many people that say, when you shared that, and then they come tell me, I lost both my sons in an accident, or I lost this, that, and the other thing. And we have a moment where we share, and that's a moment where they come back and we get to feel them. And I love that, until I can see them again, I'll have to do that. So when I die, don't be sad. I'll be having a fun time in heaven, but yeah, I mean, you know what it is? It's just we need to connect with. So these are the moments that just really define a life, much more than a graduation, much more than, I am the CEO of whatever, or no. It's about how do you affect other people? You have to be mindful about that.
Well, and Shayla, since I prompted the question, I just want to say to you that all my love and respect of one mother to another. And I hope that you feel, I know you said other people have encountered similar losses, but yours is your own and yours is unique. And it should never be diminished. And I hope speaking Michael's name is another way to honor him and you, because I know the importance of speaking the names of those that have we love and that have gone on is very important. So thank you for sharing and speaking to Michael, because I know he's with us and I have goosebumps. So I think he's here with
He
us.
is.
And just as a professional woman who believes her magnum opus is her own children as well. There's a quote that I have from Rose Kennedy, and I keep it hanging with all my diplomas, and she said something like, I looked on child rearing not only as a work of love and duty, but as a profession that was as fully interesting and challenging as any honorable profession in the world, and one that demanded the best I could bring to it. And I think that mothers understand. Certainly those that love our mothers and respect our mothers, but especially mothers that remain when their children leave us. I think you all have a special place, and I honor you for that. And thank you for sharing Michael's name.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. He, one of the things I learned about him as soon as he passed away was that he would never, and his friends, my son never introduced himself as Michael. He always said, Michael Jonathan Murphy, nice to meet you. Always Michael Jonathan Murphy. And they made fun of that. And and I remember that when I was about to give birth to him, I was convinced I was having a girl. Alexandra Patricia Murphy, that's my daughter's name. I knew it was a girl, and I was about to go to the hospital, and I had this thought, oh my God, what if it's a boy? On the way to the hospital. And then I heard Michael Jonathan Murphy. So I think he introduced himself to me before he came here. So he was a very special soul. And, I have no regrets about the life of my son. And he shared and he impacted. His thing was leave people feeling better than you find them. That was his thing. So, I mean, I think I did pretty good. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really powerful. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what you're going through, but as a new father myself, I can't imagine the emotions that you have gone through. But with that in mind, is there any advice that you might give students that might be facing challenges or obstacles, or thoughts on like a really amazing thing that you said that I'm going to put in my pocket now, about how words can build or destroy, as they're going through these challenges?
Absolutely. That's a great question for, people to contemplate. I don't think we do enough of that. I think we don't sit down and do enough contemplation or enough breathing. We don't, we need to do that more often and every day. We do have the same power to affect one another using our words, using our face. There's no there's no time when two people connect or cross paths that something isn't exchanged. You can walk by somebody and just look at them, or you can walk by them and smile. There is communication right there. What effect are you having on another person? We talk about there's a level where we're all one, and that we become entangled, but we're not going to become entangled until we share our stories. So I think that one of the things, if you're feeling bad and everything, at the bottom of all suicides, at the bottom of all things like this, is a story not shared. Is something that you could have, that needed to come out, that needed to, but not to just anybody. You not only need to be vulnerable and open up, but then if somebody's giving you the privilege and the honor of sharing with you something like that, listen. Don't tell them what to do, because you don't know. You don't have to. All you have to do is hug them, listen, and say, I'm here. I don't know what to do right now, but I want to sit here with you, and why don't we just go get a burger or whatever. We don't do that enough. When I lost my son, my family came in, and I cannot tell you how many bumper sticker grieving things of, so, well, time will heal all wounds, and then this. Don't do that. People don't need that. They just need, just hug me, just sit next to me, just and sometimes that's all we need. So students, when you're feeling like that, and believe me, you're not alone. That's the problem, is you think you're alone, but you're not alone. Open up, let yourself be vulnerable. Vulnerable doesn't mean weak at all. Vulnerable means you are strong, that you have big cojones. Look it up. It's you got tremendous backbone to say, I am feeling lonely. I'm feeling bad right now. I really don't think I can handle this. And even sometimes journal it. If you don't want to talk to somebody, just write it down. That I've done all my life, just write it down, share it. But remember, if you're on the other side of a shared experience, listen. And just let them say, and just be there. And sometimes people just have to say something, and they feel better. We think that we have to help them. Well, this is what you have to do. What you got to do is, no. If you know anybody like that, you know that you don't go to those people for help. You don't share anything with people like that. So share and then listen. Do that. And then the world will be a great place if we all did that.
Thank you so much. I think we're running about the end of our interview, but I wanted to thank you so much again for your message and your amazing words. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Segovia.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't, Travis. I'm sorry. Okay, so let me just say to you, Ms. Rivera, that you left us in such a better place.
Oh.
Just having this small chat with you today, I wish we had all day, all week, all year to, but now that we have our hooks in you, we're not going to let you go.
Please don't.
So you're leaving us better off than you found us. Know that, feel that.
Thank you.
But I do have a question for you as we part.
Yes.
Of all the songs out there, okay? So if you had to request a song or select a song to play as you enter a room, what would it be?
Wow. Wow. Well, let's see. The Puerto Rican part of me has a couple of gran combos in my head, but you wouldn't know what that is.
Maybe.
There is a song that well, you know, I love Revolution. My son loved that band, and Celebration, it was one of his favorite songs, and it's just such a good song. It's such a good song. So I would play that, definitely. And then some salsa music, but you know, I'd have to bring it myself because you probably don't have any.
Hey, you don't know about me.
That's true. I don't know.
I was just at a wedding last weekend. I was a little salsa myself, ma'am. So.
I love it. I love it. I thank you. Thank you for this time. I mean, you know, I know you say that I left you better, but this leaves me better. It just, and so it's a both ways. It goes. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much again. Thank you for listening to our podcast. The Nuclear Power Institute is a joint center with Texas A&M University and the Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station, and is a component of the Nuclear Engineering and Science Center. For more information about our center or about our guest speaker today, please visit our website at npi.tamu.edu and look for us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you.